Hey guys, it's Eddie here again. I had another look at the poll and a lot of people wanted me to cover unsportsmanlike fouls. So that's what we're going to do today. Effectively, what we'll do is go through each of the criteria. So there's certain criteria that we have to meet one of, not all of, but one of, to upgrade from a regular foul into an unsportsmanlike foul. So we'll talk about each of the criteria one by one. And then we'll look at some clips and kind of break them down again like we have in every other video so far. So stay with me. We're going to go over unsportsmanlike fouls, the 4 criteria, and the penalty. So here we go. So as we can see here, our first criteria for an unsportsmanlike foul: contact with an opponent that has no attempt to directly play the ball within the spirit of the rules. So dumbing that down, basically, let's say it's the defense here and they go over and they just grab the player dribbling the ball. They didn't even try to get the basketball. They just went straight for the player. So sometimes in football, for example, they say, play the ball, not the man. So we don't want to be running over and just fouling someone because, sometimes we see this because a player gets angry, they go over and just give them a bump or... So you've got to judge the intent of the player a little bit here. If they didn't go to try and make a play on the basketball, so they didn't try and steal the ball or get in front to make a good defensive play, we're probably looking at this criteria more often than not. So that's the one I need you to remember. No attempt to play the ball. Simple as that. So on this play, we're looking at that bottom right defender, number 10 in white. The replay on this first little section isn't fantastic, but as we get to the second bit, it will be more clear. So once more, criteria 1, is there an attempt to play the ball? This angle is not great to see, but let's have a look at the next one. So this corner player that comes over to play help defense, hand in the back, swipe down on the arm. He's not even trying to block the basketball. So here's another clip at the end of the first quarter where the player comes over to deliberately foul just to kind of stop the game and make them run a set and take them out of transition, basically. But let's have a listen to what the commentators say here because it's quite a useful piece of information.
2 hands right to the body. And I think what players have to make the adjustment is you've got to make a play on the ball. Make it clear for the officials.
Two hands to the body. 2 hands to the body, so he's not really playing at all the ball.
Ball is on the left hand.
Yeah.
And he contact on the hip.
On one side on his right hip, on the other side on the left hip. So 2 hands on the body without playing at all the ball.
So as you can see in the last couple of clips, all we're looking for is, does the defender really go for the ball or do they just play the man? The second one is more of an intentional foul, which we can actually achieve as a player more eloquently than that example. All you would have to do is go and give a real hard slap down where the ball is. If this player just then 2 hands on the body like the referees were discussing, that one, not a play on the ball. But if someone's got the ball in their hands, and as a player, I just come and give it a good whack and happen to get their arm, I still achieve an intentional foul anyway. So that's allowed, but it has to be a play on the ball. Let's look at one more. In this instance, we've got a transition play. The defender squares up and just levels the guy driving to the basket. So again, this could be a blocking foul, but let's see if we can upgrade it. Listen.
Just saying, was there an action on the ball? Is that a genuine action on the basketball? Let's take a look. No. I don't think so. And then...
So after the foul's called on the court, the referees have a little conference here and use the video software to review it. So they're weighing up whether to upgrade it or not. The upgrade was on the court, but have a listen to what they say here about C1 or C2.
C2. You want C also? So you call unsportsmanlike? Yes.
So just there, the referees are having a conversation and they talk about it meeting C1 and C2. They decide that it meets C1 and so they upgrade it and go with the unsportsmanlike foul. Whilst I'm on the topic, to call an unsportsmanlike foul, still hand goes up with your whistle, and then once it's here, you can choose to upgrade it to an unsportsmanlike foul by giving this signal above your head. So foul on the court, have a think, which criteria does it meet? Yep, it meets one, I'm gonna upgrade it. You go to the score bench, 8 black, unsportsmanlike foul. Penalty is 2 shots and possession. So we're gonna have the shooter, the guy that got fouled, or guy or girl that got fouled, it's gonna shoot the ball, the 2 free throws, and then their team's gonna get the ball back on the side of the floor. For the sake of keeping the video a little bit shorter, I'm not going to play videos of this one because it's pretty easy to imagine. So criteria 2, as above, excessive hard contact. Any foul that you think is, wow, that was just too much contact, it didn't need to be like that, those are the sorts of ones we want to get. Situations here. Let's say there's a 1-on-0 fast break, guys going up to lay the ball up, from behind them someone comes in and they just completely clean the person up and they end up on the floor. Probably we'd look to upgrade to our unsportsmanlike foul just for the fact that the foul didn't need to be that hard. If someone jumps and tries to play good defense, they wall up, that's not the sort of one we want to be penalizing. We want to be penalizing a stupid action which probably didn't need to occur.
Yeah, look, he comes down, he's mad at the first, and then he
that's, absolutely.
Okay. We talk about now only if he's C2, hard contact, because it's, yes, let's see, point of contact, in the face. Is excessive contact, and look the head how he's going. Yeah?
Into the corner, Wagner for 3. Not that time, but Timon gets the rebound. Gets knocked down.
I know that I said I wasn't going to show clips, but I think it's pretty obvious based on these ones. The only one I will touch on quickly is that second clip. So still trying to play the ball, swings, but what we look for is A, big wind-up going backwards, and B, we'll be looking for how vulnerable is the player. So it's an airborne player attempting a layup, and the contact's really hard on their head as well. So hard head contact is just, it's one of those ones we don't need. It's excessive, right? So yeah, any big fouls that are, I guess, outside of basketball, but that's what we're looking for across the board with unsportsmanlike fouls. So I hope that's clear for criteria 2. Let's look at number 3. Criteria 3 and 4 are confusing because they're quite similar in a lot of ways. But let's look at criteria 3 now. So this is contact which deliberately stops a fast break. You can see the proper wording of it above me, but basically, if you're on a fast break and someone deliberately fouls just to try and stop you guys from getting a quick layup at the end of the fast break, that's what we're looking for from criteria 3. This rule applies all the way up until someone starts to attempt their layup, so their active shooting starts. So if you can imagine, I get a defensive rebound for my team, I outlet the ball to someone, and as they're running up the floor, either someone fouls them just as like, oh yeah, that's my foul, but they're doing it so that they can't get a layup, or someone comes and just fouls me after I pass it for the sake of being like, oh, now they can't get a layup down the other end of the floor. That's what we're looking for criteria 3. So a deliberate foul just as like a quick, oh, yep, don't want them to get a layup. So let's have a look at some clips. So we're in transition here. We get an outlet and the red player just fouls him for the sake of fouling to stop the fast break. When we have a look at this, think about what you would call. Are you going to count the points and give them an and one and the unsportsmanlike foul? So they're going to get one shot and possession from the sideline. Are you going to cancel the basket and then go, oh yeah, unsportsmanlike foul, 2 shots and sideline possession? Personally for me, I think we go cancel the points because he wasn't in the act of shooting. He hadn't picked up the ball when the foul occurred, which still means that we're in contention for criteria 3. Because remember that part of C3 is that it only applies up till the act of shooting. So we get a deliberate foul to stop the transition, and then I'm calling my foul, upgrade to unsportsmanlike foul in my head or to my co-official. I think it meets criteria 3 because he fouled just for the sake of stopping the fast break. So the penalty here, cancel the points. We're going to have 2 shots and possession for the white player. All right, last one, criteria 4. This one's the trickiest because we've got a few different things to think about here. First point, we need to be in transition. Second point, there needs to be an offensive player who would otherwise have a wide open layup with no one between them and the basket. So if I catch the ball or I have the ball and I can drive and there's no defense in front of me, that's the second point. And the third point is that the contact has to come from behind me or to the side of me. So if there's a defensive player who's even remotely in front of me, we can't consider this anymore. Fourth point here, it only applies up until the act of shooting. So if I pick up the ball and I start my layup and I get fouled from behind, we're no longer looking at C4. So just to repeat myself, in transition, no one between me and the basket, and I get fouled from the side or behind. So here we get the steal. Player gets out in transition. He hasn't quite picked up his dribble yet and gets fouled. There's no one between him and the basket, and the foul comes from behind him. So this one gets upgraded as a C4 unsportsmanlike foul. So here we can see he doesn't quite gather the ball for his layup. If he had gathered that, then you would be shooting 2 shots for free throws. Oh boy, a lot of stuff to cover, all right? Unsportsmanlike fouls is a relatively big topic, but at the end of the day, it's not the biggest part of the game of basketball. It will come up every now and again, and you need to know them, but it's not something that you need to have in the forefront of your mind on every play. Just to summarize very quickly, criteria 1, no attempt to play the ball. Criteria 2, excessive hard contact. Criteria 3, a take foul to stop the transition play. And number 4, we've got the breakaway foul rule. So there's no one between you and the basket, and you would otherwise have an uncontested layup at the hoop. So I hope that clears things up. And in summary, that's unsportsmanlike fouls. If anyone has any questions, feel free to get in contact. But apart from that, cheers guys, and I'll see you soon.